My name is Bryan Wright. I'm the executive producer of Rivermont Records, and I am also the transfer engineer and restoration person for the historic Asheville project. My interest in historic recordings goes back to childhood. When I was a young child, 2 years old, I got my first record player, and it quickly became my favorite toy. And by the time I was in kindergarten, I had a turntable that would play 78s, and I started collecting those and developing a real interest in music of the pre-rock and roll era. When I was in college, I started Rivermont Records as a way of sharing some of this music, and have been doing reissues now for the better part of 20 years. So I grew up in Lynchburg, Virginia, and I've always had an interest in regional music, especially of the 19th and early 20th centuries. And so when I was invited to be part of this Asheville project, I was thrilled because music of the Appalachians goes deep with me. It's something I've long been interested in, and it's a real thrill to be able to have a little hand in bringing these recordings back to life and getting them out where people can hear them. To this point, I have produced over 120 albums, and they're all like children to me. It's really hard to say that one is a favorite more so than any other because they all have their little idiosyncrasies. They all have their little points of interest. I've loved all of them. I suppose I'll always have a soft spot for the very first reissue I produced while I was in college, complete reissue of the recordings of Edwin J. McAnally's orchestra. He was a 1920s dance band leader in Massachusetts and produced some very startling and original and snappy dance records in the late 20s. And musically, it's one that I go back to again and again, and of course, because it was the first, I guess it will always be special to me. One of the challenges of restoring and reissuing recordings of the 78 RPM era, especially the acoustic era, is that the quality of the recordings can be quite variable. The speed at which they need to be played can be somewhat variable. What we now know as the standard speed of 78.26 was not yet officially standard. And so one of the challenges is determining the appropriate playback speed for a given record. They can vary anywhere from about 70 RPM up to 85 RPM. So it's necessary to use auditory cues and clues to pitch them correctly. There's also the challenge of fighting through a lot of surface noise to get out the clearest sound. Acoustic recordings are not well known for sounding amazing, and so getting them to a point where they're listenable is a challenge, but it's one that I look forward to. It's one that I enjoy, and I hope you'll be happy with the results.
Here's her breath. One night when the moon was shining, the stars were shining too, and then into her cottage her jealous lover grew. Come Ella, let's go wandering down in the meadows gay. Together we will ponder.
Sound more like Kelly Harrow.
Yeah.
I think the other one was a little too low.
What was the first?
Into a lonesome forest he led his lover dear.